Hello and welcome to Chess with Simon. I'm Simon. Today we're going to look at a game by Gareth Stevens. Gareth plays at our chess club and he's playing in the Kiddlington Tournament. So he's white. This game has a beautiful finish and it's worth looking out for if you can spot the finish and how early you see it. It's a really nice ending and it's a pattern worth remembering. So Gareth plays d4, his opponent plays knight f6, c4. His opponent plays g6 in an attempt to signal a kind of uncompromising approach. Knight c3 from Gareth, and d5 from his opponent, the Grunfeld Indian defence. I've always wanted to play this against Gareth. You don't see it that often at club level, even though it's a very sound opening and it creates interesting and unbalanced positions. Gareth handles it really, really well. So takes on d5, knight takes back. So this is the kind of exchange variation. This is the principled line from both sides. e4, takes on 3 ticks. So the old-fashioned chess thinking would evaluate white as much better here because white has control of the centre. But what the modern thinkers realised is that black gets a lot of pressure against that centre. So bishop g7, c5 puts more pressure on d4. Castles, castles, and then knight c6. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces attacking and only 3 defending. So you need bishop e3 to hold the centre. Then black plays knight a5. Now this is a move that's been seen before, but it's not the main move. Gareth plays the main move, bishop d3. Black exchanges. Bishop g4 is often played because it provokes f3, which creates a weakness along the g1a7 diagonal, which is often helpful to black. I think in certain variations where white sacrifices the rook on a1 for the bishop, then black being able to check on b6 is helpful. So provoking this f3 because the bishop's often gone from e3. It often helps black. So anyway, f3. Bishop e6, which again is the engine move. So this is move 13, and it's kind of still theory and still playing engine moves. Really impressive. Queen a4, bishop d7, and then bishop b5 is a new move from Gareth. So this has not been seen before, this chess game. Takes, takes. a6 is the engine move, so very accurate stuff. Queen b4, also the engine move. Queen d2, very good. Now, what white starts to do here is really starts to attack, and this is very much Gareth's style. And actually, in terms of pure evaluation, black starts to get a little bit better here. So e6, putting a rook on the d file is a good idea because that d pawn often becomes weak. I'm not sure I'd have played e5. It turns out well for Gareth, but I would have worried about it because I'm worried that that bishop's not very good on e3. And I'm worried it rules out playing f5, but it does give white the e4 square, which Gareth uses to great effect. So black's manoeuvring, white brings the knight around, black offers the exchange, which white declines. Black puts a rook on the d file, maybe thinking about long-term pressure against the d pawn. Knight c5 is a good move, hitting the queen makes a lot of sense. And then putting a rook on that c-file behind the knight, just really supporting that knight outpost. Black playing bishop f8. Now the threat is to exchange off that knight, and then I think black's knight would be much better than the white bishop on e3, which is a bad bishop. And that black knight is great on that square. I mean, can't be touched by a pawn. It's really good. And Gareth realises this, so manoeuvres the knight away. Black hits the queen hits the rook, which white exchanges, and then the check on f6. Again, it's not a move I would have played, but it creates attacking and creative chances for Gareth, which he's so good at exploiting. So now there's a pawn on f6. Clearly, if white could beam a queen onto g7, that would be just delightful. It's not quite that simple, though, because queen doesn't move like that. So queen c7 from black. White is very sensibly coming around with that queen, thinking of threats, although, of course, the black bishop can always cover back to f8. So queen h6 isn't that big a threat, but, watch this space. Queen c2 hits the rook. Rook moves away and also onto a protected square. Black hoovers up a pawn. So now black is how many pawns up? Actually, only 1 pawn up. So white has 6 pawns. White has 5 pawns to black's 6, but white's pawn structure is less good, and black has 2 connected pass pawns on the queen side, which basically, I mean, you know, take all the pieces off, black is easily won. I mean, even with a bunch of pieces on, black is winning all the endgames. So white needs to come up with something creative, and that's a good job, because here it is. Pawn f5. So g takes f looks dubious here, and actually bishop h6 is just a forced checkmate. So g takes f can't be played. Black chooses to take the other way, which looks fine, but it does open the e file, and this will become significant. He says, slightly giving away some of what happens. So bishop f4. As you can see, the engine's rather keen on black here, but engines don't always spot human creativity. Rook c2, threatening the g2 pawn in no uncertain terms. Queen h6. Now, if you were black, what would you play here? What do you think the right move is? So black sensibly spots the mate on g7 and is concerned about it, and so defends it with the bishop, which has been saving for that purpose. White to move. What would you do as white? Please feel free to pause the video and have a think. What would you play if you were white in this position? So, this is a bit of genius, and of course Gareth had to see this quite a long way out. Queen takes f8, check. King has to take. Bishop h6, check. King has only one move, because that e-file that was opened by the sacrifice of the f-pawn, king can't step onto the e-file, has to move in. Rook e8, checkmate. You have to say, if you were white, okay, basically, let's actually try and do it properly. If you were white, that'd be a little bit disappointing. I mean, chess is beautiful, chess is art, you know, and kind of like, it's a great game to see, but if you were black, that's quite annoying, isn't it? Well, really, honestly, once the queen sack happened, you'll probably know something's up, because someone that good doesn't sack a queen for nothing and will have thought it through. So, I just thought that was a really great game. Thank you, Gareth, for sending it. I've no idea how you've done today in the tournament. I'll look it up. But the whole tournament was worth it for that one move, maybe. Hope you're all well and hope to see you soon. Bye.